greet all the ministers and everyone in their respective places.
Good job.
Okay.
Good job.
The question that I have for you is, how will you fulfill the Great Commission? I'm coming from 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 19 to 23. If you can just stand for the reading, please. I'll be reading out of the NIV version. Though I am free and belong to no man, I make myself a slave to everyone, to win as many as possible. To the Jews I became like a Jew, to win the Jews. Yes. To those under the law I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law. Yeah. So as to win those under the law. To those not having the law I became like one not having the law, though I am not free from God's law, but I am under Christ's law. Yes. So as to win those not having the law. To those, to the weak I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all men, so that all possible means I might save some. I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings. God is blessed. I want to focus on verse 22, the B clause. I have become all things to all men, so that by all possible means I might save some. So when I was given the task to speak, I was like, oh God, wow. So I started by defining words. So commission, as defined in the dictionary, is a group of persons directed to perform some duty. A duty is an obligation or a responsibility. To equip means to supply with the necessary items for a particular purpose. If I could tag the text of where I'm coming from, I would tag it multi-phase. During this lifetime, we were taught to be ourselves, not to conform, to be one way across the board all the time. We were taught that if you aren't the same way, you were two-faced, fake, funny, acting, or as the young folks say, shiesty. Because you act one way one minute and another the next. But nobody ever stopped to realize compromising isn't always bad. In fact, there can be heavenly benefits to compromising. In Matthew 28, verses 18 to 20, Jesus charged us to go and make disciples. He charged us to go. But how can we, if we are waiting for them to come into the house of the Lord? We sit here and we say, oh yeah, you know, I'm just waiting for my son to get his life together. I'm just waiting for my daughter to come back to Christ. But he clearly says he charged us to go. Okay. If you're waiting for them to come, then you aren't going. Because coming and going negates each other. You must not act so holier than thou that Matthew 28 verses 18 to 20 along with other scriptures don't apply to you. Other scriptures for another day. So be it that your feet can go where everyone else's can. But the places God orders your feet to go, they should go and they better go. Remember, obedience is better than sacrifice. 1 Samuel 15 verses 22. Understand that because my feet can't travel there doesn't mean your feet cannot travel there. Your assignment is there. Mine isn't. So be sure to follow the voice of God. Matthew 6 verse 24 teaches us that we can't serve two gods and to never be afraid to do God's will. So my advice to you is to allow your spirit man to be great. Just trust God. Crucify your flesh because God won't play you. And that's words in Jeremiah 29 and 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Invite your friends to church, young people. There's nothing wrong with being saved and still going out. Yeah. Don't think I went to school and didn't enjoy myself. Because I did. But know your limits. Know your boundaries and But I also tell them, go to that Q's party tonight. And seasoned saints, know that the young people are trying. We are trying. We are trying. Okay? It may not be how you want us to try. We may not do things the same way you did them. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Know that as they go out into the world and try to draw people to Christ, your job is not to run them away. In fact, your job is to love on them, to encourage them, and to pray for them. Both the young people and the ones that they're bringing in. Your prayer should be, Father God, keep their mind stayed on you so that as they go out to do your will, their flesh won't get weak. Don't let them give into temptation because it's so easy for us to give into temptation these days. Whether or not you want to admit it, it is. I have so many friends, and I'm the only one that will not go out to a party and get drunk. I'm the only one that will not go out to a party high. It's so easy for me to just be like, pass me, give me a cup. I don't do that. Neglections is the act of turning away other disciples. 3 John verse 9 to 10. I wrote to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to be first, will not welcome us. So when I come, I will call attention to what he is doing, spreading malicious nonsense about us. Not satisfied with that, he even refuses to welcome other believers. He also stops those who want to do so and puts them out of the church. Revelations is an abomination to God.
Yes, it is.
But you don't know that because you stay away from the book of Revelations. But if you would like to know where it comes from in the book of Revelations, you can visit the 2nd chapter, the 4th verse. But this thou hast, that thou hates the deeds of the Nicolaitans, which I also hate, says the Lord. Seasoned saints, go and tell your testimony. The hem of your skirt was not always that long.
All right now.
The hem of your skirt was not always that long.
Come on, bro.
That same young lady that you're passing judgment on can be the same young lady to come visit you when you're sick. Her prayers will be your prayers to get through to make all the difference. But you wouldn't know that because you passed judgment. But I got God never called us to be miserable. Therefore, if you're miserable, how real is your relationship with our Father? Yes, one of the fruits of the Spirit is long suffering, but there's a difference between long suffering and misery. Okay. As Pastor was saying, I'm gonna pull the bus over. We want to have English class real quick, okay? Real quick. All right. Long suffering is an adjective and is defined as having or showing patience in spite of troubles, especially those caused by other people. Whereas misery is a noun and it is defined as a state or feeling of great distress or comfort of the mind or body. So, you see, an adjective describes something, which means it can be temporary and is subject to change. Whereas a noun is what it is and it's not subject to change. So if you're miserable, you're miserable. But if you're enduring with long suffering, joy is going to come. So, men, be a father figure in an open book. Tell the young men that you used to run the clubs. Open the clubs and shut them down. But also know that it gets played out. Let them know it gets played out after a while. Pastor will be the first one to tell you, I used to run the clubs. And I love him for that. But he knew it got played out. It got played out. No, we are not perfect, but each and every day, your job as a disciple is to strive and to be more like Jesus. The world does not need perfect people. but rather transparent people. Those who have real problems understand that transparency is necessary for a connection between those under the ark and those outside the ark of safety. The more transparent and open you are, the more you will impart life unto others. Background does not matter to God. God used different people. Each of them had their own evangelism styles. So if Jesus can save the thief right before his ascension, use a fighter, a cusser, and a young person, who are we to think that he can't get the glory out of someone else's life because of their background or where they came from? They asked, could anything good come out of Bethlehem? The greatest gift of them all came. My Father, my waymaker, my deliverer,